It's been some time since He-Man ruled the world, but the once mighty TV and toy phenomenon is finally ready for a reboot. Whether you're a longtime fan or a newcomer, here are all the reasons why Netflix's Masters of the Universe will blow your mind from here to Eternia. It took what felt like forever, but we now have a definitive answer. Masters of the Universe Revelation will debut on Netflix on Friday, July 23, 2021. When filmmaker Kevin Smith, the geek icon producer of the Revelation miniseries, first announced the show at Anaheim's PowerCon 2019, it was difficult to tell just how far along the series was in the production pipeline. But the team behind the show obviously went right to work if they managed to wrap up production in the year and a half since then while in the midst of a global pandemic. We should note that July 23rd is only the first part of the season, with 5 episodes going up for streaming on that date. Hopefully, we'll get some indication about the second batch of Revelation episodes soon after the initial premiere. Smith took to Twitter in November 2019 to share that the voice cast was about to begin recording their parts, so that means the second half shouldn't be too far away. If this is the case, Netflix will need to figure out where it can fit the second half of Revelation into its release schedule. Of course, we'll be keeping an eye out for an official announcement, which we expect to arrive sooner rather than later. Netflix doesn't shy away from positive PR when they know viewers are flocking to a new show, as shown when Bridgerton obliterated all previous records for viewership on the streaming service. If Masters of the Universe Revelation turns out to be the hit that Netflix hopes it will be, they won't waste any time moving up the release of the remaining episodes for the series. Masters of the Universe Revelation is already proving to be far glitzier than the 80s series we all know and love with its illustrious cast of AAA talent. He-Man will have his shouts and war cries powered by Chris Wood of Supergirl and the Vampire Diaries fame. The biggest get of this series, however, is without a doubt Mark Hamill. In a truly inspired casting choice, he will be lending his incredible voice talents to iconic villain Skeletor. Hamill may still be most well known for playing Luke Skywalker in the Star Wars franchise, but he's almost as famous for his stellar body of voice acting work. He has consistently performed an animated version of the Joker since the 90s. More recently, he has been putting his evil shriek to work as Skektek the Scientist in the other big 80s nostalgia revival series on Netflix, The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. So becoming Skeletor is a perfect fit for his style. What can we say? He's very good at those unhinged evil cackles.
Here is the answer we seek! Here is life everlasting!
The celebrity train doesn't stop there as we continue down the long list of Eternia's friends and enemies. The cast includes Sarah Michelle Gellar as Teela, Liam Cunningham as Man-at-Arms, Lena Headey as Evil Lynn, Diedrich Bader as King Randor and Trapjaw, Alicia Silverstone as Queen Marlena, and many more. There's even a role for Kevin Conroy, the Batman to Hamill's Joker in Batman the Animated Series as Merman.
Hello? Hello, operator? I believe my party's been disconnected.
Netflix's sparse webpage for the upcoming Masters of the Universe Revelation series has a brief one-sentence blurb as a summary of the show. That reads, "After a calamitous battle fractures Eternia, Teela and an unlikely alliance must prevent the end of the universe in the sequel to the 80s classic." Exciting, eh? Netflix's teaser doesn't provide much more context than that, but by the power of Grayskull, it does feel like a direct continuation of the 80s series, complete with 95 seconds of action set to Bonnie Tyler's Holding Out for a Hero.
So at the beginning of our first episode, it plays for the first 10 minutes like, a slightly or way better animated version of the old show.
There is an interesting nugget buried in the producing credits. The VP of Mattel TV, Rob David. At first blush, that's no big deal because it's very common for executives of intellectual properties to receive executive producing credit. The twist here is that Rob David also came up with the story for the 15-issue He-Man comic series titled The Eternity War that was published by DC from 2014 to 2016. The comic story isn't centered only on Skeletor and He-Man. Instead, it's about a no-holds-barred war for the soul of Eternia, with big battles, noble sacrifices, and bloody carnage. While this new Netflix miniseries is likely not a direct adaptation, elements from the comics could be incorporated. What the plots of Revelation will probably not include, considering their absence from the cast list, is He-Man's sister She-Ra and her many ancillary characters. Netflix's She-Ra and the Princesses of Power animated series has no announced connection to Revelation, and the two shows likely won't connect at all because She-Ra has been running just fine on its own steam for 4 seasons. It appears that we'll just have to wait to see exactly what kind of story Smith and company are cooking up for us. Fortunately, the wait is nearly over, and with all the love that Smith, David, and the rest of the crew are pouring into this adaptation, we're not worried in the least. If you had any worries about the professional credentials of the crew behind the scenes, the composer for Masters of the Universe Revelation should ease your fears. The animated Netflix show's composer is none other than the award-winning Bear McCreary. Longtime fans of The Walking Dead were introduced to his music from the first moment of the opening credits, and he remains one of the longest tenured people attached to the AMC show. His career has spanned multiple genres and mediums. McCreary got his start in television on the 2004 version of Battlestar Galactica, where he scored almost all of the 76 episodes of the sci-fi hit that spawned a new generation of fans. From there, he continued his work on television by composing music for several seasons of Eureka and Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles. McCreary's work is rooted in horror, where he created the music for films like Rest Stop and Wrong Turn 2: Dead End. As his star rose, he scored bigger and more widely known movies, including 10 Cloverfield Lane, Godzilla King of the Monsters, and the 2019 reboot of Child's Play. One of his biggest professional accomplishments in recent years, however, has come in the form of video games, specifically 2018's God of War. The PlayStation 4 exclusive was a mega hit for Sony, selling more than 10 million copies in a little over a year after its release. For his work on the Norse mythology-inspired action epic, McCreary won a BAFTA and 4 Game Audio Network Guild Awards. Kevin Smith revealed McCreary as a composer in February 2021, and the Netflix Geek Twitter account posted a video of Smith's reaction to hearing the Metal Maestro's work for the first time. Smith is left visibly teary-eyed by the end of the clip, which should tell fans of Revelation that the music is in the most capable of hands. For those of you who just can't wait until July 23rd, Dark Horse Comics is getting a top-tier team of writers and artists to hold you over before Masters of the Universe Revelation premieres. 4 issues of a prequel comic, also titled Masters of the Universe Revelation, are scheduled for release, with number 1 now available for pre-order everywhere comics are sold. Kevin Smith and Rob David, 2 of the names behind the Netflix show, are also in charge of writing the comic series, along with Tim Sheridan, known for his work on the Superman, Man of Tomorrow, and Reign of the Supermen animated movies. The comic has some heavyweights in the visual department as well, with drawings by Mindy Lee, known for the comics Bounty and Crimson Lotus, color from Rika Renzi, who you may know from the comics Spider-Gwen and Sundowners, and letters by Darren Bennett, known for his work on Batgirl. Stjepan Sajak, a veteran of He-Man: The Eternity War, drew the cover of the first issue, and Dave Wilkins will provide covers for the remaining 3 issues. Each issue will have at least one variant cover drawn by many other talented artists. The release of a comic book for Masters of the Universe Revelation is a nice callback to the original 80s cartoon, which also contains comic books that were included with the release of each new action figure. This prequel is said to explore the aftermath of an attack on King Randor, He-Man's father. The creature sent in the attack is somehow linked to He-Man's sword, and he sets off after Skeletor and Evil Lyn. Masters of the Universe Revelation number 1 will hit comic shelves and digital storefronts on July 7, 2021. The other 3 issues will release on August 11th, September 8th, and October 13th, which should help hold us over until the second half of the Revelation series premieres on Netflix. As we mentioned earlier, Masters of the Universe Revelation isn't the only revival of this series in the works for Netflix. Mattel and Netflix are also collaborating on a totally separate production, simply titled He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Unlike the anime-inspired Revelation, this show will reportedly be a more traditional take on the Masters of the Universe mythos, with the target audience reportedly skewing much younger. At the moment, details of this new He-Man show are very scarce. We know that the storylines will be new and that Skeletor is the center of the conflict. The onslaught of He-Man lore hasn't stopped there. An additional He-Man and the Masters of the Universe animated film is also in the works, as well as a live-action movie. No matter what, it'll probably be better than the last time they tried that.
I'll be back.
Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.